1960s, it was not an uncommon practice.
So, you're saying, I'm not clear on your answer, I'm sorry. Have you ever used a mentally handicapped to study an experimental vaccine?
What I'm saying is I don't recall specifically having done that, but that in the 1960s it was not unusual to do that, and I wouldn't deny that I may have done so.
Where do you want this? Okay. I'm going to read you a sentence from what's been previously marked as Exhibit 7.
That's not what got marked as Exhibit 7. That got task force was 7.
Oh,
So this should be 42.
got it.
Okay. So, well, in any event, you're not denying that you. There's an article entitled "Attenuation of RA27.3 Rubella Virus in WI38 Human Diploid Cells." Are you familiar with that article?
Yes.
In that article, one of the things it says is 13 seronegative, mentally retarded children were given RA27.3 vaccine.
Okay, well, in that case, that's what I did.
Okay. Have you ever expressed that it's better to perform experiments on those less likely to be able to contribute to society, such as children with handicap, than with children without or adults without handicaps?
I don't remember specifically, but it's possible. And again, I repeat that in the 1960s, that was more or less common practice. I've since changed my mind, but that was a long time ago.
Do you remember ever writing to the editor of Ethics on Human Experimentation?
I don't remember specifically, but I may well have.
Mark this. Yeah. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibit 43. Do you recognize this letter you wrote to the editor?
Yes.
Okay. Did you write this letter?
Yes.
Okay. It's one of the things you wrote. The question is whether we are to have experiments performed on fully functioning adults and on children who are potentially contributors to society, or to perform initial studies in children and adults who are human in form but not social potential.
Yes.
Okay. It may be objected that this question implies a Nazi philosophy, but I do not think that it is difficult to distinguish non-functioning persons from members of ethnic, racial, economic, or other groups. Okay. Have you ever used babies of mothers in prison to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Have you ever used individuals under colonial rule to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Did you do so in the Belgian Congo?
Yes.